It's 8:30 a.m. on Monday morning, and the sprint planning meeting is ready to begin. Since the sprint is defined to be 2 weeks, the sprint planning meeting is scheduled for the next 4 hours. Sophie, the product owner, Fatijit, and the development team, Chris, Sarah, Maddie, and Eli, are in attendance. A key focus for the meeting is a recently identified epic, the product launch of DecoCam version 4. The meeting begins with Fatijit describing each user story contained in the product backlog. The following are 2 of the user stories. As a consumer, I want to read an informative press release so that I understand the features of DecoCam version 4. As a Deco Productions marketing associate, I want to be able to distribute interesting booth giveaways so that I can attract more conference attendees to the DecoCam booth. As Fatijit describes each user story, the development team asks a number of clarifying questions. Once the product backlog is understood, the development team tackles the question of what can be accomplished during the sprint. While the priority of the user stories will be a primary consideration, the development team will also take into account other factors, including the following: dependencies that may be present. For example, the user story related to the press release may be a high priority, but it may be beneficial to include it in a later sprint in case the content of the press release is affected by the work of this or other sprints. User stories with higher complexity may need to start in an earlier sprint. For example, user stories related to the promotional video will likely benefit from being developed over multiple sprints. The team uses planning poker to determine the amount of work that may be included in the sprint. This is always a fun part of the meeting with lots of lively discussion about each team member's assessment of the work to be completed. After a period of time, the development team finalizes the user stories that will be completed during this sprint. This is always a challenging part of the meeting. The development team wants to complete as much as possible during the sprint. However, they don't want to overcommit and not be able to deliver by the end of the sprint. After extensive deliberation, the sprint backlog is created. Next, the development team self-organizes in order to determine how the work will be performed during the sprint. Throughout this process, Sophie keeps everything moving forward so that the Scrum team completes the sprint planning process. She's careful not to direct the development team to include certain user stories or to plan their work in a certain way. Her role is to facilitate, not to direct.